We're going to discuss conversion rate optimization for your Shopify website. Traffic is only half the job. Once people land on the website, now you got to convince them to buy stuff from the website. Conversions mean purchases. More clicks don't automatically mean you're going to get those conversions. Your product pages have to earn it. They have to earn every click through and every add to cart all the way through the final confirmation of that shopping cart. CRO, or conversion rate optimization, is the process of continuously improving the website to get as high of a conversion rate as possible. The basic math here is conversions divided by clicks. That is your conversion rate. This is a super important key metric for your Shopify website. If you drive 100 clicks to the website and one of those results in an order or purchase, that would represent a 1% conversion rate, just 1 divided by 100. 3% is a very common average, but it's going to vary very dramatically based on the products you're selling, how much competition, your price, a lot of factors, whether you're ranking well on Google, how your traffic is coming in, a long list of variables. But think about roughly a 3%. That would represent about 3 orders per every 100 clicks, or roughly an order for every 33. That's just kind of a rough guideline to consider. The way to go about conversion rate optimization is to first make sure that you're getting a decent amount of traffic. A lot of the clients I work with, whether they're startups or even more established businesses, they don't have a conversion rate problem, they have a traffic problem. If you're not getting a lot of traffic to the website, it's a really tough scenario to try to understand why more people aren't converting. Think of it like a brick and mortar store. If there's not a lot of people walking into the store, it's hard to understand how you should arrange the products on the shelves and maybe on the counter. So it's traffic first. The higher quality, the better. High quality traffic to me would be someone who goes to Google and enters a keyword that describes whatever it is you have to sell. But it needs to begin with that, because low volume websites and low volume landing pages, it makes CRO very, very difficult to do. So start with the highest volume pages on the website. The analytics within Shopify will help you identify some of these landing pages. And I also highly recommend Google Analytics. It has an entire section just for landing page analysis. So prioritize those pages with high traffic, especially those that are getting high traffic but not the conversion rate that you would expect. And then look at that page and just start to form some ideas of what you think could be causing such a low conversion rate. That's the starting point, is identifying these higher volume pages. Once you've identified a couple of target pages, begin to form a hypothesis surrounding what would it take to change on this website in order to drive a higher conversion rate. Possibly price. And frankly, price is the biggest thing that we see as far as getting a higher conversion rate. Of course, you can't just keep lowering your price until there's no profit margin left. Totally understand that. But ask yourself, is it possible to lower your price somewhat, at least for a period of time, to see whether it gets a higher conversion rate? The options there are either put a sale price in place or just lower the price. Either way, it should give you some indication as to how price sensitive your prospects are that are landing on that page. Maybe it's the product images. Maybe they're not clear. Maybe they're not showing enough of the product for someone to really understand it. They're hesitating because they're not entirely clear what this thing is. Maybe it's the product description. Perhaps there's more that you can say about the product, or you could shuffle sort of the hierarchy of what you're saying and what it is and where it is on that page. Perhaps that would help. Sometimes shipping will create a hesitation. Generally, shipping isn't talked about on the product page, but that could be happening within your shopping cart. And ask yourself, are you making too much money on shipping? That's a classic. Sometimes you're just charging too much, and that's going to cause some hesitation for the final checkout within the cart. So take a look at all those things. Those are just some highlights, but it could even be other things beyond that. And make a hypothesis, and then make that change. Maybe lower the price, or possibly add some more product images, and then come back and track that product in another couple of weeks, maybe 30 days, and see what's happened to the conversion rate. Another recommendation is to change one thing at a time, because if you change multiple things on a landing page and the results either get better, worse, or stay the same, you won't be really clear which exact item it was that drove that change. So what I would advise is to pick your number one candidate, your number one hypothesis of what could increase your conversion rate. Maybe it's, say, price. Lower the price and watch it for maybe 30 days. Again, the more traffic that you have coming to that page, the faster you should see some, varying results. If you're not getting a lot of traffic, you may need to wait several months until there's been a meaningful amount of traffic to understand whether your conversion rate has changed, for the better. So one thing at a time, make the change, see what happens. If you do that as an example to one of your products and it works very favorably, if your conversion rate skyrockets, maybe you could scale that across other products that are similar. Perhaps there's a similar problem going on with those. Or maybe you enhanced your description, you expanded it, and maybe that had a positive result on your conversion rate. Maybe that would be worthy of doing at scale across all of your other products, making similar changes. So that's the key, though. If you do too many changes all at once, you'll never really know what the core change was that drove hopefully the increase in conversion rate. And again, price is probably going to be your biggest conversion lever, particularly if you're in a fairly competitive space and buyers have various options. It's very common for people to click through into your website and just do a quick assessment of what this thing is, how much, how large is it, how much are they going to get, and what is the price, and then leave and go shop at other stores and maybe come back, maybe not. But generally, price is the biggest one. So if you have really healthy gross margins, consider playing with that price point a little bit. Even if you're selling it for less and therefore you make less gross margin, you still might earn more profit dollars because you're moving more units overall. That's the key math to consider. So while it might be nerve-wracking to lower your prices and knowingly lower your margin, you might get more orders in the first place, and that could really help accelerate things. It even gets more interesting because if over time you're driving more conversions and even more engagement on these pages, Google might pick up on that and start to favor that landing page more in their organic search results, which could give you even more exposure, which gives you even more clicks, which gives you even more conversions, and the ball just keeps rolling. So think about price as your first move. Hopefully you have margins that can cover some type of sort of a modified or lowered price, and then just really closely monitor what happens to your conversion rate as a result of that. In a previous episode, I covered unit economics. It would be good to model your products, take a look at your retail prices, either on a product level or on an average order value if people buy more than one thing. Take a look at your shipping revenue if you're charging for shipping, and then take out all the variable costs like cost of goods sold, shipping cost, about a 3% credit card transaction fee, any boxing fees like a box, bag, tape, things, shipping label, things like that, and see how much margin you have, how many dollars, and then fold in a possible cost per acquisition or what you're willing to spend to get those people in the first place. That math all ties right back into this conversion rate optimization scenario. Well, in summary, before you think about just driving more traffic or in particular buying more traffic, think about your conversion rate. If you have a very, very low amount of traffic, well, you can at least work on this a little bit, but the big emphasis should be driving more traffic. But once you get a meaningful amount of traffic, if you have a page that's driving, say, 100 clicks within a relatively short amount of time, even within about a month or so, figure out what that conversion rate is, what's the current rate that's happening for your conversions. Form a hypothesis. Could be the price of the product or not. Could be images, descriptions, layout, so on. Make that one change and then monitor it and see what happens to your conversion rate. Hopefully it goes up. If it goes up and that same type of change might apply to other products, just make that change and then follow those other products, maybe follow the entire website and see what happens with the overall website's conversion rate. And that's the way this goes. It kind of is never ending. It's a dynamic marketplace out there. There's always things changing. Your competition surely is always going to be changing. So it's not a set it and forget it, but it is worthy of exploring pretty much now and into the future. It's a balance between high quality traffic, just enough of it, and also getting as many orders as you can out of that traffic. Well, I hope that was interesting, and thank you so much for watching.